What's up, everybody? My name is Blue Drake, and you might think that you're looking at footage of Ground Branch, or Ready or Not, or maybe Battlefield, but guess what? You're not. Welcome to SCP Pandemic. What started as a SCP-themed zombie survival game is quickly turning into one of the coolest tactical shooters that I think is available on Steam. And almost nobody from the tactical community really knows about this, at least in terms of its potential of being a proper tactical shooter and not just a quick, fun zombie survival game. Now, this is a game that is in development by Affray Studios. Our studio has actually been collaborating with them for a long time. I co-own Blacksite, which has helped them with a whole bunch of things, including the launch of their Kickstarter, which they successfully funded many months ago. And in addition to that, a lot of their developers and our developers have both worked on SCP Pandemic and Operation Harsh Doorstop. So our weapon handling system and animation system is actually very similar to theirs because the same developers have helped out with both games. And that's one of the reasons that I've been following development of this very closely. However, recently I'm starting to get really impressed as this game is starting to really come into its own. Not only does it have full weapon customization in addition to really good weapon handling mechanics, but some of the new game modes in the developer builds of the game are really fun and are going way further beyond zombie survival game modes. So for instance, in this game mode, Hunt, it's kind of like a terrorist hunt game mode with a variety of objectives that you actually have to complete across the map. And that kind of open world replayability is everything I love most when it comes to tactical shooters. In addition to the fact that it still has the good old classic fun zombie survival game modes as well. So the fact that you have both things in one roof is a big win as far as I am concerned. Now, as always, if you want to check this out, links are down in the description. But I think that here soon, I'm probably going to be covering SCP Pandemic a lot more. This is a game that is doing things right, and it's a game that you can play right now. Obviously, there's other games that I've played on this channel, like Road to Vostok and things like that, that look really cool, but you can't play it right now. SCP Pandemic, however, you absolutely can. You can go and pick this up immediately. Now, in addition to the game modes, the weapon handling and the sound effects in this game are really top-notch for an indie project. Granted, nothing's ever really going to hold up to Battlefield 4 or AAA studio-funded games, but at the same time, you could have me fooled with some of the gameplay that I've seen from SCP Pandemic recently. In addition to that, it also has some of my favorite features that I wish were in more games that are in Operation Harsh Doorstop, like point shooting and other little details that I wish were in more tactical shooters, but it's cool that it's in this one. And of course, at the end of the day, if you're ever bored, you can always play the Wave Survival Zombie modes and the campaign in the game as well. Now, the zombies are pretty brain dead right now. They just kind of run at you, and they're not particularly interesting. But I actually think that here soon, they could probably have a massive revamp for the enemies in the game for the more zombie SCP-themed modes that would make them considerably more interesting. Because if the rest of the game continues improving at the rate that everything else has been improving at, I think it's only a matter of time before things like the zombies get a massive AI overhaul, making them much more fun to fight against. Now, one of the other features that I wanted to show off in this game is the weapon customization system. So we can go over here and we can look at this workbench and we can actually customize our weapon. We can even save different profiles, which I think is pretty cool. So if you have like a weapon customization profile, you can save that. You can add suppressors. You can add in different sights. You can add in different laser attachments and flashlights, all sorts of stuff that you would expect from a game like Insurgency Sandstorm and beyond. And just for everybody who's been asking about weapon customization in Operation Harsh Doorstop, like I said, The SCP Pandemic weapon handling system is very similar to ours, so having weapon customization like this is kind of like a preview of what is absolutely possible for Operation Harsh Doorstop in time as well. These guys are just awesome, and they're working really, really hard, and they've gotten in a whole bunch of things really quickly. So, if you want to go check this out, go click the link down below. I highly recommend giving this a shot. I think the upcoming updates for SCP Pandemic are really going to change how people see this game. And of course, as always, if you want to keep track of games like this, make sure you press that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember, as always, Blue Drake loves you. Cheers.